Hi, boys and girls. Today is Tuesday, April 13th, and you're watching Wilbur's Boast Part 1. This looks like it's long, but it's not, and it's not very hard at all. I know a lot of you have been reading Charlotte's Web. This is a short little excerpt from, an excerpt means a part. This is a short little part from Charlotte's Web. When you finish watching this and listening to it, you are going to complete the assignment. It's on several different slides. Slide 4, Slide 6, Slide 7, Slide 9, and Slide 10. And I'll walk you through them as you watch this tape on what to do. All right. So, Wilbur's Boast it tells you at the top there on the right-hand side that it's from Charlotte's Web. It was written by E.B. White. All right.
Wilbur's Boast from Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. Illustrated by Garth Williams. A spider's web is stronger than it looks. Although it is made of thin, delicate strands, the web is not easily broken. However, a web gets torn every day by the insects that kick around in it, and a spider must rebuild it when it gets full of holes. Charlotte liked to do her weaving during the late afternoon, and Fern liked to sit nearby and watch. One afternoon she heard a most interesting conversation and witnessed a strange event. "You have awfully hairy legs, Charlotte," said Wilbur as the spider busily worked at her task. "My legs are hairy for a good reason," replied Charlotte. "Furthermore, each leg of mine has 7 sections: the coxa, the trochanter, the femur, the patella, the tibia, the metatarsus, and the tarsus." Wilbur sat bolt upright. "You're kidding," he said. "No, I'm not, either." "Say those names again. I didn't catch them the first time." Coxa, trochanter, femur, patella, tibia, metatarsus, and tarsus. "Goodness," said Wilbur, looking down at his own chubby legs. "I don't think my legs have 7 sections."
Okay, so on this slide, you're going to use the details from the story, and how can you conclude that Charlotte, so far, is a very smart spider? Answer it in the pink box. Okay.
"Well," said Charlotte, "you and I lead different lives. You don't have to spin a web. That takes real leg work." "I could spin a web if I tried," said Wilbur, boasting. "I've just never tried." "Let's see you do it," said Charlotte. Fern chuckled softly, and her eyes grew wide with love for the pig. "Okay," replied Wilbur. "You coach me, and I'll spin one. It must be a lot of fun to spin a web. How do I start?" "Take a deep breath," said Charlotte, smiling. Wilbur breathed deeply. "Now climb to the highest place you can get to, like this." Charlotte raced up to the top of the doorway. Wilbur scrambled to the top of the manure pile. "Very good," said Charlotte. "Now make an attachment with your spinnerets. Hurl yourself into space and let out a drag line as you go down." Wilbur hesitated a moment, then jumped out into the air. He glanced hastily behind to see if a piece of rope was following him to check his fall, but nothing seemed to be happening in his rear, and the next thing he knew he landed with a thump. "Oomp!" he grunted. Charlotte laughed so hard her web began to sway. "What did I do wrong?" asked the pig when he recovered from his bump. "Nothing," said Charlotte. "It was a nice try." "I think I'll try again," said Wilbur cheerfully. "I believe what I need is a little piece of string to hold me."
Okay, so Wilbur boasts that he can spin a web. How do you think Charlotte felt when he stated that? And what makes you think that way? Okay, and another thing, Wilbur attempted to jump. What was the effect from his actions? And how does Charlotte assist Wilbur in his attempts to spin the web?
The pig walked out to his yard. "You there, Templeton?" he called. The rat poked his head out from under the trough. "Got a little piece of string I could borrow?" asked Wilbur. "I need to spin a web." "Yes, indeed," replied Templeton, who saved string. "No trouble at all. Anything to oblige." He crept down into his hole, pushed the goose egg out of the way, and returned with an old piece of dirty white string. Wilbur examined it. "That's just the thing," he said. "Tie one end to my tail, will you, Templeton?" Wilbur crouched low, with his thin, curly tail toward the rat. Templeton seized the string, passed it around the end of the pig's tail, and tied 2 half hitches. Charlotte watched in delight. Like Fern, she was truly fond of Wilbur, whose smelly pen and stale food attracted the flies that she needed, and she was proud to see that he was not a quitter and was willing to try again to spin a web.
Okay, so what in the story helps you determine that this is a fantasy? So what are the story elements that tell you that, this is probably a pretty made up thing? And how was Templeton useful to Wilbur? Remember, Templeton is the rat guy. So answer those 2 questions in the pink box. And then the very last slide, which is slide number 10, you're going to see it looks like this, and it tells you to rearrange the events in the order they have occurred, which means happened in the story thus far or so far. So you'll actually need to move the boxes. So on this slide, when you go and do it, you're going to put them in the order, one being the first thing that happened, and then at the bottom being the last thing that happened. And that's the assignment. So you can watch this video as many times as you want and listen to it, and you're going to complete, again, the pink boxes on slide 4, 6, 7, and 9, and then you're going to complete this slide, number 10, by putting these in order. All right, that's all for now.